Hi guys, today I'm going to do a little video around opening balances, how to enter opening balances. And what I mean by that is when you look at your chart of accounts, you want to know at the start what the balances are that are outstanding, due, all those sorts of things. So in other words, if we are changing systems or opening a new database or setting up a new account, whichever way you may think of it, you have to start with what we call opening balances. In other words, what's the starting point for a bank account, for argument's sake? What's the starting point for stock, for invoices, all those sorts of things? All right, so the first thing to wrap your head around, the first concept, is to go to your settings in VS1 and your organization details tab, that little option there. Alright, when you scroll down, you'll see a year-end option here. Now let's say we set October. October is our year-end. That's when everything rolls over and the year-end finishes on the October 31st. So we would enter our year-end as October, like so. Alright, let me just save that. Okay, awesome. So now we've got October set as our year-end. Let's come back and show you that again. There's our year end, that's what it's set to. So now when we run any sort of accounts, any sort of reports, if we come up here to reports, what we're aiming for is when I look at any sort of report that I want to see, that is a point in time. So what I mean by that is a balance sheet is a single date, a point in time, whereas a profit and loss is a date range. So did I make profit last month? So the start of the month to the end of the month. Whereas a balance sheet is a point in time. So we're looking for point in time on our balance sheet to make sure our opening balances are correct. So then we just drill into our balance sheet. So what's important at this point? We've set our year end under our organization details to be October. So when we print a balance sheet as at the end of October, these are the numbers that we're trying to achieve. So in our previous accounting system, in what we're running with our previous accounting system, we're going to print out our balance sheet as at the October 31. So in other words, we want the previous accounting system balance sheet to match VS1 balance sheet. So all these numbers must line up on both balance sheets. And once we line those up, VS1 then has what's called opening balances. It's set to go. All right, now how we do that is if we look at our, like I've got a bank account here. So simply come up to your accounts, this one, and do a new journal entry. And the journal entry will go to bank, one side, whichever bank account you want to set here. And I'm going to set the value to this at $10,000. And then on the other side, we put in opening balances. This one. Now, some people like to create an opening balance history account. So you could easily create an account under this called opening balance history. Either way, the key is to create the bank entry and the opening balance. But this is the most important thing. The date of this entry must be the last day of your year end, in this case October 31st. So what you get is when you create your opening balances in VS1, the two balance sheets will line up, they will match. So by the time you roll into November, the 1st of November, the balances will be spot on to what your old accounting system said. If I printed both balance sheets as at October 31st, they would match. So by the time I move into November, I've now got the correct opening balances moving forward. It also tells me that anything entered October 31st is history, and I would find that in the previous accounting system. Anything moving forward after November is now in VS1, and we simply save it. And then you'll end up with the two entries. So you'll get the two lines, one for opening balance. Remember, a lot of people like to leave the opening balance equity account alone and create an opening balance history. Entirely up to you. Your net result is still the same. Just make sure if you add the history to this, that it sits under opening balance equity. It's under that account. So if we come back here and you're looking for opening balance again, under here you'll create a history account. It'll be a sub account in here, like so. Alright, let me go back. Now, the same concept flows for stock. So when you do stock, you'll come into your inventory tab and you'll do a stock adjustment. This one, you'll create a new stock adjustment. The key again is that whatever the product is that you want to adjust, you select it, but the account that it's going to go to is once again the opening balance equity. So opening balance, like so, and the date. The date again is the key. It must be the 31st. So in here you now enter in for how many apples you have, my final quantity. If I've got 200, as on October 31st I had 200 in stock. The opening balance equity posts to that account and I know my history. It now all lines up. Alright, let me go back out. Again, same concept for when you're entering invoices. Again, there's a couple of schools of thought here with your invoices. When you go to enter an invoice in for outstanding customer balances, typically the best idea is if I select a customer, you would create a product that is non-inventory called opening balances, and that would be the product that you'd put in there. Otherwise your stock level is going to be put out, so you create a product called opening balances. Now, other schools of thought are you want to recreate any outstanding invoices you have in the system. So in your old accounting system, whatever outstanding invoices you may have, you can re-enter them if you choose. Typically I find the best way to go is break it down to month by month, enter an invoice with the product name being opening balance entry for each month that it's outstanding. That way you get a period. So if you have 20 invoices in 1 month for one customer, enter one invoice, put the due date on it for that month, and it's opening balance history. That way you've got an outstanding balance against the customer and it doesn't affect your stock moving forward. Now, that concept works exactly the same for your purchases. Any outstanding purchase orders you may have, again, enter one entry with an opening balance product and enter it that way. So what I mean by an opening balance product, come up to your inventory here, select new product, enter in opening balance history. The most important piece is change this to a non-inventory part. It's not going to track stock, and literally that's all you need to do. So don't have any values to here, don't enter anything else, just simply select opening balance history. So now when I do an invoice or anything for an outstanding customer, again I would recommend you enter a total balance for the month for that customer. Just select the customer like so, and then select the opening balance product you just made, and whatever the value for the entire month is, you put in here, whatever they've spent. That way your due date up the top here is relevant, but make sure you change the sales date again back to the 31st. That's the key. It then tracks that as history in the previous system and you're good to go. So that's how to enter opening balances.